Hello everyone, Kris here with the weekly energy report for the week of August 14th, 2023. A couple days late posting this, but this is what I've been working on and this is what I've been talking about and writing about, and my blog for this week is also all about this too. Self-image, identity pictures. So when I talk about a picture, I'm literally talking about a clairvoyant picture, and we have so many of them. Pictures are how we navigate through our life, whether we're conscious of a picture or not, or that we're seeing a particular picture or not. You might say it's how you imagine something, how you visualize it or imagine it to be, whether that's a conscious image picture or an unconscious one. So identity pictures figure very, very strongly within all of this, because when you start looking at identity and self-image, you're actually looking at how you're navigating the world, how you see yourself and what you see as possible for you is sort of directed through those identity pictures. You have pictures about what you think is possible for yourself, how you see what you can have, or who you are, or what other people are too, or who somebody else is. And often we walk around kind of showing people what we want them to see. Or we might hide behind a picture that helps us feel more safe or protected. And that's many of us kind of not stepping out sometimes and really being seen for who we are, or what we want, or what we believe. Because maybe some people we know, or the group we're part of, or one of the groups we're part of, we're all part of so many, or our job, our boss, the corporation we work for, maybe the job we have if we're part of a university system or another academic system. And I'm not picking on any of these systems, I'm not at all. But there are different ways that one has identity pictures within those places. None of this is wrong. It's really not. It's just the key here is, and this is where I come in as a clairvoyant looking at this, are the pictures you're operating through and working for you. So this came up last week when I was reading with a colleague. We exchange readings a lot in my line of work, and it's really fun. And we had this matching energy come up about identity pictures, and how we were updating our own unique individual and identity pictures. And that was really interesting to look at, because it's really where I've been working as I've been updating my clairvoyant practice, my psychic teaching space, and also myself as an artist and a writer. All of these pictures I've been getting into present time. I've been working with all of this in a new way. So when I was reading my friend, I saw this picture, and I often see this. This is kind of one of the ways that I work as a clairvoyant. I'll see an image from a book or a scene from a movie or something, but it's the energy of the thing. And I remembered seeing the picture. It was the scene from the Hall of Mirrors in The Lady from Shanghai, which is a 1947 film noir, beautiful film if you've never seen it, Orson Welles. And it's this incredible scene. It's a classic. You can even just go watch that scene on YouTube if you want, if you haven't seen the film, or if you want to refresh yourself. Highly worth it. I did, and it's actually posted in my newsletter this week because I was like, I have to share this. So it's really a scene about illusions shattering, as this whole hall of mirrors starts to shatter because two of the main characters are shooting at each other in that hall of mirrors. It's shattering the old images. First, you can see all the people reflected multiple times in the mirrors, and the real question is, well, where's the real person? Like, where are they standing within this hall of mirrors? Because it's illusory, you can't tell. It's like a way where somebody might be reflected a whole bunch of times, but you can't see where they really are. And that's how identity pictures can work. You might have an identity picture that's based on who you are in relation to other people, or to a particular position you hold, maybe a job or a career, a relationship, so many different things, where you live, where you're from. And then it changes because all of a sudden you're not really grounding into that anymore because you're not in that anymore. We ground ourselves into different ideas about who we are or pictures we have of who we are or where we are, or in different agreements we have. So sometimes you might not show who you really are because you're part of a particular group where that's the underlying agreement, conscious or not. People are not really saying what they feel or think in order to keep the peace. But then what it does is it has you kind of be in this lie within yourself. Now, that's different from agreeing to get along because you have to in a situation. But if you hold back on who you are, and then all of a sudden that blows up or it changes, then all of a sudden those identity pictures that you might have been really invested in, because a picture that's in your space that you have is really powerful for your whole life, and including your body, because you have your energy invested in it. There's nothing wrong with that, literally nothing wrong, until it gets to the point where you might decide, this is not my picture. I don't want this anymore. I see this a lot too with people maybe going through a job they've had for a while, or a career path they've been on, and then waking up one day and saying, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Like, maybe they realize sometimes that it was never really their picture that they would do that. And maybe it was a picture that they followed and they got what they needed, and now they're changing. So again, it's not like anything's wrong, it's how we learn. So back to the identity pictures in the Hall of Mirrors. Another picture that came up when I was reading my friend was from a Harry Potter book, from the Harry and the Philosopher's Stone. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, first book. And Harry's like wandering through the castle, wandering through Hogwarts. I think it's the holidays, everyone's gone home. He doesn't have a family to go to. He's safer if he's still there. And he's lonely, and he comes across this room and he finds this mirror that he doesn't know, he just sees this big, beautiful mirror standing in the room. It's the mirror of Erised, which he didn't know. It was hidden off in this room so nobody would actually find it, but he found it. And this mirror tells you or shows you your deepest desire. And what Harry saw when he looked into it were his dead parents standing right there smiling at him and feeling like he was part of a loving family, like belonging, which he never had. So he couldn't get away from the mirror. He just couldn't tear himself away until his professor found him and said, yeah, this is addictive and destructive. That's why I hid it away. And that's part of it too. Like, there can be an image or a picture that we really put ourselves into that isn't necessarily present time anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. It's not here. You can see this in the way that people hold on to old history. And I don't mean knowing history. We need to know what happened in history. We need to know the truth of what happened in history, not just the revised versions that don't tell you the whole story. I'm talking about holding on to maybe even an illusion of what happened, whether it's in their lives, in their country, or something else. And when you're caught in that, you can be really sort of off course a little bit in terms of what you're really able to see, what's really happening. Back to self-image pictures and identity pictures. This is part of growth, and you've done this many times too. If you've changed at all in your life, and you have, you're an adult and you've gone through lots of different changes since you were a kid, since you were born, those pictures change. You start to create new pictures that might be very validating based on, oh, I know how to do this now, or I trust myself in this particular skill because I've done it so much. I feel like I'm much more of a master at it now. Like, for example, I really trust myself as a clairvoyant right now in a way that I didn't when I first started 24 years ago, just learning. And that's perfect. That's exactly right. And I do trust myself in other ways. And but you have a lot of different ways you can see that for yourself, where you trust you, and you trust you to be able to know something for you. Back to what we're doing here. One of the reasons why I'm bringing up self-image pictures and why that's my energy I'm working on this week is because it is a time of clairvoyance that we live in. We do live in a time of clairvoyance, and we have for a very long time without even necessarily looking at that. So by time of clairvoyance, I mean image, seeing, cameras everywhere, being able to really share. Like I can make a video of my weekly energy and upload it to my YouTube in like 10 minutes and share it. Super easy, very different from how things were not even that many years ago. Being able to communicate and connect the way that we can so quickly. And it's easier to see energy now in that way. And people talk about that. Imagining, visualizing, creating working with their imaginations or creating a new image or a new picture. So when you're working on these self-identity pictures, you're actually working on healing. When you are digging in and moving out some of the old invalidating pictures or the programming that says you should do it a certain way, or you're not doing it right if your picture of who you are doesn't line up to how other people say you should be. Advertising, culture, things like that. One of the many, many reasons why representation matters in every aspect of our life, of our culture, in our schools, in books, across the board. Because when you can see yourself reflected, it's so much easier to create an identity picture, a self-image picture that is more true for you. That's much more true. And if you've been somebody who has handled energy in your life, denigrating that or telling you that you can't imagine yourself a certain way, wherever that came in, or someone said that to you, you'll never have blah, blah. If someone has ever told you you'll never be able to do this or you'll never be able to do that, you might have created a self-image picture based on that. And that's not your truth. That's somebody else's assessment, whether it came in through jealousy, fear, or a desire to control you, or something else, their own match, like they had that. So how could you have something that they didn't have? And it kind of has nothing to do with you, except that if it's in your space, you do have to manage it. Maybe you don't have to feed it. Maybe you can say hello to it and look at it and say, well, is that my truth? Like, do I want to carry that? And it can't be solved, but it can be released. That's actually one of the things we as clairvoyants do. We look at those energies and we de-energize a picture. We pull our energy out. We actually take the charge out of something. A picture that's negative in your space or that is invalidating for you on any level has your energy invested whether you like it or not. And when you pull your energy out, you can actually make it easier to just not have the picture affect you or control you. If you want to know more about working with clairvoyance and learning how to use yours, it's a skill you have. It's actually an ability you have that you can turn into a finely tuned skill. And it's not difficult to do. It's human to have clairvoyance, but then there's a whole learning process to really be able to have it and use it. I teach clairvoyance I've been teaching it for a long time, like maybe 22 years, something like that, but I love it. And one of the places I work out of, and actually the main place I work, is at the Art of the Seer Academy. And we offer a clairvoyance mastery program that's 10 weeks long. We just kind of changed the way that we teach clairvoyance at this academy. And we started dividing up our clairvoyant program, which was formerly a year-long program, into chunks of 10-week sections. So you can do 10 weeks at a time. And so there are some classes starting this fall, 2023. You can check out artoftheseer.academy. And you can also reach out to me at kriscahill.com. One more thing, just a reminder, through August, I'm offering a special imagination reading. It's called the Imagination Reading. It's a 45-minute clairvoyant reading. And it's really on your ability to imagine and create for yourself with pictures, with your imagination, with your ability to visualize. And you'll find that at kriscahill.com under book a session. This is the price of this is usually $175, and through this month it's $140. So check it out. Reach out to me if you have any questions about what I do. And if you want to be on my mailing list, I send out a weekly news where I put stuff like this. And you can find that through my Substack, kriscahill.substack.com. Okay, thanks so much for watching and for listening.